It was in a subcommittee on Capitol Hill where the Slattery family's emotional reality clashed with the political, where the economics of tears may have failed to resonate as loudly as the dollar.
If this is what a congressional hearing is like, then I understand why communism has a higher approval rating than Congress.
Those are the words of a man who has a story to tell but failed to get the right audience. Ed Slattery and his son Matthew were hoping to testify in this subcommittee on regulatory affairs, a hearing to debate the cost of implementing a new Department of Transportation rule that would decrease drive time for truckers while increasing their rest. House rules dictate the majority party, in this case the Republicans, choose most of who speaks in these hearings. 5 witnesses from trucking companies testified versus just one safety expert. While Slattery's statement was read into the record, he was not chosen to speak.
The whole hearing was a farce. And if the American people knew what these hearings were, I think they'd be even more sickened than they are now.
Those words were spoken to us, but Slattery says they were aimed at subcommittee chair and Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan. A conversation Slattery invited us to witness in the halls of Congress, but one Jordan's staff refused us access to. Even without a mic or a seat at the table, Ed would make his point to any lawmaker he saw exiting the hearing.
But that's a farce. The rules of the House need to be changed. It's nuts that he would have all those people for the trucking interests lined up and only one safety advocate. Mr. Jordan knew what he believed when he walked in there, and everybody simply parroted what he wanted to hear.
Democratic Congressman from Ohio, Dennis Kucinich, heard Slattery loud and clear, and through the lawmaker from his wife's district, found a sympathetic voice.
The important thing about Congress to remember is that even if you walk into a situation where the deck is stacked against you, if you can still get your point across, that's huge.
Now there is the other side of this story, albeit not nearly as emotional. The trucking industry says these new regulations could cost trucking companies upwards of $2 billion, a cost inevitably they will pass on to you, the consumer.
It means greater cost for cereal, greater cost for gasoline at the pump, clothing, anything that you and I buy at the store.
David Osheki is with the American Trucking Associations and says the cost of decreasing drive time outweighs the benefit. Fatigue alone causes a very small percentage of deadly accidents on American roadways, he says, and Congress should broaden its scope as to why 3,000 to 4,000 Americans die from truck crashes each year.
It's misbehaviors and mistakes. Misbehaviors meaning speeding and following, and unsafe actions that some people choose to make.
Right now, they are working too many hours and driving too many hours.
Safety advocates feel no matter mistake or fatigue, the rule must change, even at the cost of $2 billion.
We're trying to create a rule that will result in more rested truck drivers and bringing down the number of deaths and injuries that are occurring because we have tired truckers on the road.
A message Ed Slattery and his family are now slowly becoming the face of, fighting through what they call the partisan farce of the congressional hearing process to be heard, to express that dollars are simply not worth more than tears.
There are 330 million of us who can share that cost. As it stands right now, 3,000 families a year lose a family member, and those 3,000 families bear the whole cost.
Numbers Slattery hopes causes Capitol Hill pause as Congress debates the cost of lives versus doing business. In Washington, Brian Kubler, ABC 2 News.